Don't you think it's funny how much time and energy and money we spend on fitting in? Because to me it seems the more we try to fit in, the further we actually drift from those who love us for real, like for who we truly are. I mean, it's almost like the more we try to adjust ourselves to be more likable, more lovable, more acceptable, the more we're building these walls between ourselves and the connections we truly crave. Like nature. We all come from nature. We all are nature. And I believe each and every one of us is actually craving to live in harmony with their own true inner nature. And I mean, nature is wild. I mean, it's nurturing, but it's also pretty hard to control, right? And yet, that's all we do. We try to control it, we're objectifying it, just as much as we're trying to control and objectify those parts within us we label as feminine. I mean, we live in a system where the feminine parts of our being, which each and every one has, are being either objectified or ostracized. So, what does that say about the world that we live in? I mean, just think of it. Like when you're a woman born with female genitalia, like all day long, all you hear is, be more feminine. I don't know. You're supposed to be feminine. And why? Because your femininity is either something to be consumed or to be controlled. So, and when you're a man, or like non-binary and maybe read as male, your femininity or your feminine parts are being shamed and silenced and maybe even erased. And instead of allowing to live both our masculine and our feminine sides in an authentic and individual way, we're getting shoved into these confined boxes. And those boxes, they cause so much suffering, not just for individuals, but for society as a whole, for the collective. Women are told they should be pretty and feminine, and when they're no longer seen that way, when they step out of that narrow frame because they pass a certain age, for example, they're suddenly treated as less desirable and less valuable and invisible. I don't know. Men, on the other hand, or boys, are told to be strong and stoic and all of that, and never be soft, never be tender. And this leaves so many people disconnected from half of who they truly are. It's so sad. And it's no wonder we're starving for real connection with ourselves and with others. And it's also no wonder we're waging wars. We're waging wars against each other, and we're waging wars against nature, the nature within us and the nature around us. We're at war with the parts of us we've been told to suppress. We're at war with our longings. We're at war with our desires and with our own aging bodies on top of that. I mean, think of the fact that women who bear and raise children and whose bodies change or age through that process are somehow treated as if they're lost their value. How sick is that? As if the signs of the love they've given and the life they've carried are marks of decline rather than marks of power, what they actually should be viewed as. It's heartbreaking because it's not just about beauty standards, it's about how the system erases signs of wisdom and experience and depth, the very things that should make you radiant and more alive and more real. And then also think of the judgment towards women who decide not to have children. Like how much judgment they face, as if like all their value is reduced or is being reduced to that one role. You know, I'm at an age right now that mainstream society calls midlife. Like, I'm supposedly in the middle of my life right now, even though I don't know how long I'm going to live. So, well, and you know what I keep noticing is that the story of life, especially for women, gets painted in such a limiting way. It's like as if there's a script and the script says, like, your youth was the colorful part, you know, that was the part that mattered, and now after that, you know, the picture, well, it gets smaller and quieter and, yeah, I don't know, more boring or less radiant. But the truth is, like, I'm feeling quite the opposite, I have to tell you. So it's like I have like a sense I'm entering a phase that could be richer and bolder and, you know, where I could feel more alive than ever if I dare to step out of that cage of what is expected of me, of the way I'm expected to live and to love, you know? And I happen to be a mother myself. I have a son, and that's also why I don't like to exclude men or boys or people in between, whatever, from this discussion. But what I actually want to say is that somehow I feel more real with my friends who don't have children. And this is because I feel like the moment a woman becomes a mother, like oftentimes everything starts evolving around that one thing, motherhood. And yeah, I feel like in this process, some women tend to lose touch with their individuality, like with their desires and with their fire, and everything kind of, yeah, like that had to do with their old identity. And I'm not generalizing here because people are different. And I know some women who are absolutely fulfilled through this mother role or by being a housewife, and that's wonderful. So, you know, people are different and not everyone is the same, and there is no right or wrong way to be a woman or a human being or a living being. So that is that. But still, I feel the moment a woman becomes a mother, she's kind of expected to disappear into that identity, you know? Like kind of to give up her individuality, because you're sharing your body, and so give up your sexuality, give up your wildness, because you're a mother now. And if you dare to show those parts of yourself, you're definitely being judged, definitely. So it's better to hide, right? Because being yourself can feel so scary. But, you know, I honestly feel that this is suffocating me. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to dim my light or my authenticity or my fire just because I've reached a certain age, or because I'm getting older, or because I've become a mother, because I've got someone or is shoving me into like some kind of tiny box. And you shouldn't either. You know, I want to keep growing, I want to keep unfolding, I want to keep expressing myself, like my true inner nature. And I want to live and love the way that feels true to me, and not the way that like some system or society or whoever expects of me. And society and systems consist of people. And if there is one thing I've learned throughout my mature age, which I'm really proud of, by the way, it's that people who tend to be most judgmental towards others and their choices, like regarding the way others live or choose to love, it's because they suppress their own authentic desires and longings and their own wild nature. Like according to the motto, if I can't like fully express myself, you aren't allowed either. So let's rather choose fear over love and freedom, right? And let's confine ourselves to those tiny little boxes, because, you know, that way we can maintain the illusion of power and control. And of course, it feels more safe and familiar to be in a confined box or a cage of social acceptance than, you know, to live our authentic truth. because that means we potentially unsettle others. But the price is high, because we trade freedom for approval, and we trade connection for fitting in. And deep down, a part of us knows that the love that we're longing for, it just can't exist in that cage. It only finds us when we dare to show up as who we truly are and dare to love the way we love. I recently stumbled across the wonderful movie Brokeback Mountain again, and it made me remember how much of human suffering comes from love that isn't allowed to be lived openly. And from people hiding, not because their love isn't real, but because the world tells them it's unacceptable. And it makes me wonder how many lifetimes have been quietly endured instead of fully lived, and how many hearts have silenced their truth just to be safe and to be accepted, and how many of us are still doing that right now. Sometimes I really ask myself, what if instead of shrinking, instead of making ourselves smaller, we softened and we opened and we lived our truth unapologetically? What a wonderful world this would be. Another great movie I had to think about recently that is about transcending, or maybe even reclaiming, our own true inner nature is American Beauty. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's actually one of the most inspiring films I've seen about living your truth and the high price we pay when we don't.
It's about escape from the norm, the mundane, the facade. All these characters feel suffocated by their bland and phony suburban lives. These sexual adventures are a release from their imprisonment. It's not so much about the romance, but what the romance represents. Freedom. Everyone is trapped in their own lives, putting up the appearance of contentment, pretending to be the people they're expected to be.
Lester Burnham. Thank you.
I've actually realized that almost all of my favorite movies orbit around this topic, whether it's Harold and Maude or Mulholland Drive, Finding Alexander, Easy Rider. There are so many great artworks and movies and songs that evolve around that topic, the fear of our own untamed inner wild nature. So if you find yourself feeling this, this tension between who you truly are and who you're told to be, or who you're told you're supposed to be, you should at least know that you're not alone. This is not personal. It's collective. It's human. I mean, look at me. I'm scared of who I truly am. And I'm scared of who I'm becoming. I'm scared of the wildness in me, the nature in me, the tenderness in me, and also the fire in me that is refusing to die out even though I'm getting older. And I'm scared because I know the moment I stop hiding, I can't go back. There's no way to unknow your own truth the moment you speak it. But I also think I'm scared of who I truly am or who I'm becoming, but I'm even more scared to live half alive and to suppress parts of me and, to silence a voice within me that tells me that there's more. There's more to life than this. And that's also a great song, by the way. And I know I'm not the only one. I know it. And if you feel it too, that ache or that longing, that fear, it's definitely not a sign that there's something wrong with us. I think it's proof that we are alive, and it's proof that our nature, our own inner nature, is saying, hello, I'm still here. I'm just waiting and asking to be lived. And also, the older I get, the more I realize that being scared of my true self, my true inner nature is not something that I've invented. It's something, that was taught to me, that was conditioned into me, and probably it was taught to you too. So we get this message early. You shouldn't be too soft, you shouldn't be too loud, you shouldn't be too much, you shouldn't love the wrong person, you shouldn't age visibly, and you shouldn't be like sexual in the wrong way, or at the wrong age especially. And for God's sake, never break the script, right? Never break the script. And the script isn't just personal. It's, the fact that whole systems depend on us keeping ourselves small and hidden and doubting our worth. Those systems depend on us being too afraid to step into our inner truth. Because when people are afraid of their own nature, they're easier to control. I mean, if women are being told that it's wrong to have wrinkles, they spend money endlessly trying to erase them, right? So, and when men are told, or boys are told not to cry, they'll channel that energy into productivity, or maybe aggression, or war, or just silence. And when queer people are being shamed for being queer or different, they're forced into hiding, because a hidden life is easier to ignore, right? So when I'm saying I'm scared of who I truly am, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about a problem in culture. I'm talking about a sickness in society that thrives on shame and silence. But here's the thing, nature, and that's where we all come from, and that's where we'll return to, that's what we are. Nature doesn't care about scripts. Nature just keeps breaking through, Like the weed that splits the pavement and the river that carves through rocks. That's just what nature does. And love insists on existing even if it's forbidden. And no matter how much we try to hide the truth of who we are, it always waits patiently. And sometimes it leaks out. It leaks out in dreams, or in breakdowns, or in moments where we just stop performing for a moment, right? And that's why art exists. That's why we're drawn to films and songs that break us open, that make us realize what we've been suppressing. They remind us of our own wildness, of, our own tenderness. And I know that stepping into that truth isn't easy, because the moment you decide to be true to yourself and to live in alignment with your own inner nature, you are also unsettling others. And you force them to confront parts of themselves that have been buried. And that's also why authenticity can feel so lonely. It's not because there's something wrong with you, but it's because you are stepping out of a collective illusion. And illusions are always comfortable for those who depend on them. But still, I feel that the more we walk this path, the more we realize that the cost of hiding is much greater than the cost of being real, because hiding erodes you from the inside, and being real feeds you. It keeps you alive. And maybe that's why I'm speaking this out loud. Maybe that's why I had to make this video, or also maybe that's why you're still listening or watching, because some part of you feels it too, that pull towards something wilder, freer, and more honest, no matter where you are in your life. And I just want to thank you for keeping me company here, because you are the reason I feel less disconnected. I'm very grateful for that. And if you're new, hi, my name is Nastya. I usually make video diaries about, everything. So, I just want to thank you. And I just hope that you're safe, and I am sending you a big hug from the bottom of my heart, full of gratitude. And I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.